Hello and welcome back to this final day of the 6 Secrets of Success with me, William Wadsworth, founder and head tutor at Young Business Creators. I really hope you've been enjoying the course so far, and with a bit of luck, maybe you're already starting to feel your confidence growing when it comes to your ability to go and hunt down those big wins, both now and also in the years to come. Back on day 2, I mentioned that a brilliant way to be smart about your learning is to make sure you're putting as much theory into practice right away. And when it comes to practicing the skills for success, I think you'd be hard pushed to find a better way to practice than entrepreneurship. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. I'm going to wrap up our time together by introducing you to the power of entrepreneurship, even if it's not really something that's been on your radar before. And I'm going to give you some practical suggestions for how to take your first steps. But I want to start by asking you a question. Are you an entrepreneur? Now, maybe a few of you have just answered yes, or perhaps I want to be. But I think the rest have probably shrugged and gone no. There's something for both camps in today's lesson, regardless of how you just answered that question. But I want to take a quick second to talk directly to anyone who's answered, yes, I am an entrepreneur. Because if that's you, I want you to pause this video in a moment and email me. For one thing, it's always so inspiring for me to hear from young entrepreneurs. But more than that, I'm in the process of collating case studies about young entrepreneurship. And in doing so, I might be able to feature you and your business and help spread the word about what you're up to. Maybe find you some new customers. And by the way, if you're having any particular challenges or issues with your business, feel free to let me know in the email as well. Whatever it is you might be struggling with, I'll be happy to offer you some words of advice based on my now nearly 15 years experience founding and advising companies of all shapes and sizes. So if you're already an entrepreneur, I'd encourage you to pause this video here, hit reply to this email, and let me know where you're at. So go ahead and hit pause now, and I'll see you back here in a moment. Okay. So what if you're in the other camp? You haven't had any real previous interest in entrepreneurship up until now. Well, I want to take a few moments for you to explain why I think entrepreneurship is such a fantastic way to position yourself for success in life. I really want to get across that entrepreneurship is not just for people who want to go on to found companies and be professional entrepreneurs. Because I believe that even a little entrepreneurship experience can be transformative for your prospects in just about any field. And that's because entrepreneurship is all about being able to spot an opportunity and having the skills and knowledge to do something about it. Whether that's an opportunity to make money, like a new app, service or product, or perhaps even an opportunity to do good things in the world, social entrepreneurship. And that combination of abilities, to be able to spot opportunity and to act on it, is both rare and highly prized, and you'll find it sets you apart from the herd in all manner of professions: law, banking, medicine, media, strategy, you name it. And as a lasting bonus, the business you started, even if you didn't get very far with it, is going to be a fantastic asset to have up your sleeve whenever you need to demonstrate just how good you are in the years to come. Imagine walking into an interview for law school, say, and telling them about a podcast you've been hosting about careers in law. Your interest and commitment to law have now just been put beyond question. And not only that, but your interviewers will be seriously impressed by the speaking skills you've been developing as a podcast host. Or to take another example, how about walking into a selection day for a fiercely competitive Wall Street internship? Imagine the look on their faces when they learn you've already built a simple little app that tracks the daily performance of stock markets around the world. And not only that, but it's been downloaded several thousand times. And so if it's not enough just to practice the skills of success and to have a great asset to show off to potential interviewers for anything from college applications through to internships and jobs, let's not forget that the whole point of entrepreneurship is to make money. What a difference would it make over the next few years to know that you had a little business engine generating some cash each month to fund a holiday, a car, or even help see you through university? If you're starting to get excited about entrepreneurship, then it's maybe around now that concerns might be starting to bubble up. I can't start a business because I don't have the time to spend, or because I don't have the money to invest, or maybe just because I don't have an idea, or I lack the skills or confidence to see it through. My friend, let me tell you why each of these is just an excuse and nothing more. Firstly, how much time you need to start a business is honestly entirely in your court. I've worked with entrepreneurs who've built very respectable little business ventures on just a couple of hours a week. If you're busy and that's all you can spare, that's okay. You can still build a cracking little project, perhaps just on a more modest scale. Secondly, and pay good attention to this, you do not need to start by investing much, if any money, in your business. One of the beautiful things about entrepreneurship in the age of the internet is you can get just about anything you need to start for free. You can get a website for free with the likes of Wix or Weebly. You can reach customers for free on social media. You can set up books for sale on Amazon for free, or t-shirts for sale on Printful for free, and you only pay for them to be printed when someone actually buys one, so you never need to risk a penny up front. In fact, the only thing I'd ever recommend a first-time entrepreneur invest money in is their education. And that's because the skills and knowledge you invest in now are pretty much guaranteed to provide outsized returns over and over again, not just now, but for the rest of your life. So that brings me neatly on to the third concern I mentioned, that you don't have the skills you need to start a business. Again, I don't think having skills is a valid excuse, because anything can be learned, and it's often a heck of a lot easier to learn than you might think, especially if you remember what I taught you back on day 2 about learning the smart way, following advice from good mentors and teachers who've done it before and seen all the mistakes. To take one example, if you've never launched a podcast or built a website before, I could sit down with you and we could get both of those done within the next 2 or 3 hours from scratch. And then by using some proven social media and Google search strategies, I reckon we could get you your first few hundred website visitors within the next few days. If you've got something to sell, that might well be enough to close your first sale already. And when you start to make progress that quickly, your confidence in what's possible will go through the roof. So finally, ideas. Well, come on, you need a killer idea to be a successful entrepreneur, don't you? Well, here's the thing. Sure, if you want to be the next Mark Zuckerberg and launch $1 billion startup, you had better have a knockout idea. Maybe there are some people listening to this who are going to go on to achieve such things. I'd like to think so. But for now, what if you're just simply looking for an entrepreneurial project to play around with, sharpen up your success skill set, and maybe earn you a bit of extra cash in your pocket? If that's the case, then you really don't need to be doing anything particularly revolutionary. I'd always suggest starting by focusing on your strengths, thinking about the things you like and find interesting, and then building a business around that. As some of you may know, I run a program called the Young Business Creators Challenge, which helps aspiring young entrepreneurs launch their first businesses. The very first week of that 3-week program is all about your ideas. We go through a process to figure out what your strengths are, what you really enjoy, and use that as a basis for creating your business. It's the perfect way to start out, because you're working on something you love. So to put a wrap on this section, it's a heck of a lot easier to get started in entrepreneurship than a lot of people might think, even if you don't have much time, feel low on skills or confidence, and don't want to spend much money. I've been talking about getting started in entrepreneurship in quite general terms up till now, and hopefully I've been successful in convincing you that it's a pretty useful endeavour to spend some of your time on. I now think it's time to get specific about the sort of businesses you might actually want to create. Now, there are truly enormous amount of ways to make money, and I've seen a lot of them. So to narrow things down a bit, I'm going to assume you're not a full-time entrepreneur, and that you're still at school, college, or university, and that you mainly want to operate from home with a relatively limited time investment, at least to start with, and you can always ramp that up later on if you're enjoying the process. So given those criteria, I'd always point first-time young entrepreneurs towards one of 4 main types of business as being particularly suitable. Firstly, businesses based on speaking, such as voice acting or podcasting. Secondly, businesses based on writing, such as books or blogging. Thirdly, businesses based on making or designing something, which includes building apps and software, as well as creating craft products for sale. And fourthly, businesses based on teaching others, either one-on-one or en masse. I've produced a short guide that unpacks each of these 4 categories of business ideas, giving you a total of 23 ingenious ideas of specific businesses you could start today. If you're a first-time entrepreneur and you're interested in a copy of that guide, see below this video for how you can get your hands on a copy for free and get your start in entrepreneurship today. And with that, we're now hurtling towards the end of our time together. So I want to finish by tying a bow on everything we've covered over the past 6 days together, and by making a couple of suggestions on where you might want to take all of this next. Let's start by looking back on where we've come from. Yesterday, you learned the art of getting gritty, sticking with a task for the long haul, and allowing you to reach a level of success that's simply beyond most people. Looking back to day 3, we talked about how to craft the perfect message to get yeses to your emails and applications by making your message easy to read, easy to say yes to, and putting your recipient first. And we followed that up on day 4 by going into some more depth about how to offer people something that they will value, how to create win-win proposals that are pretty much impossible to refuse. Heading back to day 2, we talked about how to take shortcuts in life and how the power of continuous learning and taking the advice of experienced mentors gives you the shortest and smartest route to success. And finally, or firstly, back on day 1, we talked about how to start speaking better through the power of the signposting technique in particular. We've brought all that together today by talking about entrepreneurship and how it's the perfect way to put all of those skills and more into action and really start to internalize them and master them for yourself. I hope that you found it interesting and helpful to learn about all 6 of my secrets of success, and that they propel you on to great things, whatever that might mean for you. I want to finish by extending an invitation. If you're interested in going further with the skills of success, if I've whetted your appetite and you're now interested in putting them into action, particularly putting them into action through entrepreneurship, I'd love for you to consider joining me on my new program, the Young Business Creators Challenge. The Young Business Creators Challenge will go into much more depth than we've had time to this week about a number of skills, 3 in particular. Firstly, being creative and coming up with ideas, which we haven't talked about at all. Secondly, how to speak really well, which we started to talk about, but have really just scratched the surface of what's possible. And thirdly, how to go on to make money in business and entrepreneurship. I'm all about putting skills into action, and so as part of the program, I'm going to get you to launch your very own podcast, get it online, and start finding your first listeners. You may be wondering why I've picked launching a podcast as a business project to put all this into action. And that's a good question. Why podcasting? Well, there's 2 main reasons. The first is the sheer breadth of success skills that podcasting allows you to practice. You get to practice a little bit of influencing others when you write to potential guests to interview them on your show. You get to practice a little bit of creativity when you come up with topic ideas on your show branding and logo. And of course, you have an awful lot of opportunity to get really good at speaking, even if you need to record your first episode 5 times before you're happy with it. And by the way, you don't need any prior experience or talent in any of these disciplines. I'll teach you everything you need to know as part of the program. The second reason I've chosen to teach podcasting on the Young Business Creators Challenge is that I think podcasting represents one of the best online business opportunities right now. There are zero barriers to entry and getting started. We can find a topic that interests and excites you and that has the power to captivate listeners who share your interests. And when you get all that right, you'll be able to tap in to the boom that's taking place in podcasting. In the US, 1 in 5 people listens to a podcast every single week. And in the UK, it's 1 in 10. That's already a big market, but even better, it's a market that's growing fast. UK podcast listening has grown by 60% in just 2 short years. So launching a good podcast this year is a bit like launching a website in 2005 or a YouTube channel in 2010. You have the chance to get in early, make a name for yourself, and reap the rewards in the years to come. When you join the challenge, I'll send you video lessons like this once a week across the 3 weeks. Each week's lesson is a little bit longer, more like a full hour every week. And you'll also get a PDF handout, which doubles as your notes on the key points, plus a workbook so you can follow along with the activities we'll be doing. In each lesson, I'll start by breaking down some fundamental principles and ideas, a bit like an advanced version of the Secrets of Success training. And then in the second part of the lesson, I'll give you some walkthroughs of the exact steps you need to take in order to get your own podcast launched. Each of the 3 weeks has a different theme. In week 1, we're all about ideas. I'll take you deep into the world of creativity and ideation and teach you some of the tricks the pros use to come up with killer ideas in business and the arts. Then we'll put all that to work to help you come up with a great idea for your podcast. Week 2 is about helping you tell great stories. Think of this as a bit like a masterclass in speaking that follows on from my day 1 introductory remarks about how to speak better. In week 2, we won't just be talking about how to structure your speech, but also about the very content of what you want to say. In particular, how to find a compelling story arc that people can't help but get hooked on. I'll even share some Hollywood voice coach techniques to help you train your very voice itself to come across as warmer, more engaging, and more interesting to listen to. Finally, in week 3, we're going in pursuit of profit. After all, it's the money you take home that's the main goal for just about any business. And there's a whole fascinating strategy behind how to find profit-worthy opportunities and then cultivate them to reap the biggest profits possible. We'll talk about all of that and help you pave the way to starting to make some profits from your own podcasting project, using a range of 3 simple money-making methods for podcasters. But here's where the challenge really comes into its own. You don't just get the classes, you also get 20 minutes one-on-one time for each of the 3 weeks, just you and me on a video call together. We'll be using that time to make sure everything's on track for you and to address any questions you've got from the classes or about your new podcast. But we'll also do some of the things that are kind of hard to do unless we're talking one-to-one, like me helping you to brainstorm ideas for your podcast topic, and also running a personal voice coaching session just for you to work on your speaking delivery style. A lot of people might charge $200 or $300 just for the classes, let alone the one-on-one time. But I've decided to make the Young Business Creators Challenge as widely accessible as possible. So I'm pricing the entire program at just £200 or $250 for my friends overseas. But because this is the very first time I've put this material together in this exact format, I'm also running a pioneer class capped at 20 students for half the normal price. That means if you join today, I can give you access to the full-blown challenge program, including the one-on-one calls with me, for just £95 or $120. When those 20 places are gone, they're gone. So if you're interested in taking the next step on your journey to success together, hit the button below this video to learn more and to secure your place on the challenge. It would be an absolute honour to help you and to get to know each other personally on the challenge itself. Any questions you might have, feel free to shoot me an email and I'll get right back to you. Otherwise, as I say, hit the button below this email if you want to learn more and enroll. And with that, we've reached the end of the 6 secrets of success. All that remains is for me to wish you every success in your life, whatever paths you choose to take and however you choose to walk them. It has been such a pleasure spending a little time in your company and helping you on your way to success. Thank you for watching.